Hello. Today's episode number 53 of the Professor Slots podcast is a tribal gaming overview. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. territory of Puerto Rico and the great U.S. state of Rhode Island. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode I went over what I learned when playing slots at Miami Valley Gaming in southeast Ohio, 30 miles north of Cincinnati on the I-75 interstate. Further, I reviewed Oklahoma, Oregon, and Pennsylvania slot machine casino gambling in 2019. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Let's start with the first segment of the show, 11 things you need to know about American Indian tribal casinos. 30 U.S. states offer tribal casinos. That number is climbing. To better understand them, here are 11 things you need to know about American Indian tribal casinos. Further, tribal casinos in another 2 U.S. states are currently pending. Whether your state has tribal gaming or not, you've likely already had the opportunity to visit a tribal casino somewhere. This segment has the following sections. An introduction. 1. Which states have tribal gaming? 2. The Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. 3. Why federal recognition matters. 4. Tribal state gaming compacts. 5. Who operates a tribal casino? 6. Don't cheat at a tribal casino. 7. Tribal use of gaming profits. 8. Tribal casinos, players clubs. 9. Class 2 versus Class 3 tribal gaming. 10. East Coast versus West Coast. 11. The future of tribal gaming. And a summary. I'd like to mention that I've kept each section short. Here, I'm attempting to provide an overview of each tribal gaming topic, so both you and I have a better understanding of that mystery, which is tribal casinos. Further, grouping all 11 topics into a single long article shows how all the topics connect to one another. Each topic builds on an earlier topic. By the time you get to topic number 11, the future of tribal gaming, it should be clear why I hold the opinion I present there. No spoilers. However, just about every one of these topics deserves something more. Each topic can be expanded into a full article, and they deserve to be. So I've added these topics to my ideas folder for new articles. But don't worry that my next 11 podcast episodes will be entirely on these tribal gaming topics. They deserve to be explored further, but not at the expense of casino reviews and other topics I've already committed to covering for you. I'll just intersperse them over time. Deal? 1. Which states have tribal gaming? I've reviewed tribal gaming in each state as part of my online resource, an ongoing weekly series. Out of 52 states, only 30 U.S. states currently have tribal casinos. Another 2 states have pending tribal casinos. If you read my website article on which this segment is based, I list those 30 states with tribal gaming along with their number of tribal casinos. A link to that article, called 11 Things You Need to Know About American Indian Tribal Casinos, is available in the show notes for this podcast episode, available at professorslots.com/E53. Oklahoma has the largest number of tribal casinos. In my state-by-state article on Oklahoma slots, I list the 108 largest tribal casinos. Oklahoma has many other convenience stores and truck stops, which identify themselves as casinos. With 66 sites, California has the second highest number of tribal casinos of any U.S. state. It has only tribal casinos and no non-tribal commercial casinos. Massachusetts and Virginia both have their first tribal casino pending for various reasons, either legal issues or searching for a suitable site. Alaska and Maine have only tribal bingo halls. 2. The Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. In 1988, the U.S. Congress established the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, IGRA. This federal law provides tribes and states with a legal framework to develop tribal gaming. It is the reason that the U.S. has tribal casinos with Class 3 games. American Indian cultures have always included gambling. Before the IGRA, and a driving force behind establishing it, tribes began to generate gaming revenue and profit. This tribal gaming mostly began with tribes opening bingo halls. However, such swift growth led to abuses. When states began lobbying the U.S. Congress to regulate tribal gaming, after more than a few compromises, the IRGA was born. President Ronald Reagan signed it into law on October 18, 1988. This federal law intends to regulate tribal gaming, protect tribal gaming as a means of generating revenue, encourage economic development of the tribes, and protect against negative influences such as organized crime. 3. Why federal recognition matters. The U.S. Constitution gives the federal government the right to interact with American Indian tribes. However, 1913 U.S. Supreme Court and 1988 U.S. Supreme Court decisions provided additional clarity, which also helped lead to the establishment of the IGRA. However, what establishes that a tribal community is, in fact, an American Indian tribe? Who decides? How do they choose? Perhaps more importantly, how can this process be consistent? Even today, this decision-making is fraught with difficulties. Federal recognition of American Indian tribe is a process owned by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the BIA, within the U.S. Department of the Interior. The BIA sets the criteria for federal recognition of tribes. Tribal communities petition for federal recognition through the BIA's Office of Federal Acknowledgement, OFA, which carefully researches each request for a recommendation. Once federally recognized, the federal government acknowledges a tribe's right of self-government while supporting its tribal sovereignty and self-determination. Limitations on these rights are the same as those for states. There are currently 573 bands and tribes recognized by the federal government as American Indian. The last increase in the number of tribes occurred in early 2018 when 6 new tribes received federal recognition. Only federally recognized tribes may use the IGRA to negotiate a tribal state gaming compact with their state. 4. Tribal state gaming compacts. A compact is a negotiated agreement between 2 legal entities. In this case, a federally recognized tribe and the state in which it resides negotiate a tribal state gaming compact. Once settled, the U.S. Department of the Interior must approve all compacts. However, thanks to the IGRA, not all tribal casinos need a gaming compact. Why? Because it depends on the type of gaming offered, or more accurately, its classification. The IGRA defined gaming classifications, which, as a federal law, makes these commonly held definitions for all U.S. states. For more on gaming classifications, see my article, Getting to Know Legal Gaming Classifications. I also cover that topic in podcast episode number 15. In brief, Class 1 is tribal ceremonies, Class 2, competition-based gaming such as bingo, and Class 3, slot machines and table games. Class 3 tribal gaming requires a tribal state gaming compact. Class 1 tribal ceremonies do not. But Class 2 games may require a gaming compact, depending on the state. Tribal compacts are a result of often lengthy negotiations, after all. The negotiations include whether non-tribal gaming exists in the state. If not, compact talks can be an uphill battle. It's a lot more work to introduce gaming to a state. If non-tribal gaming already exists, a compact may only negotiate for those Class 3 games already approved by the state at non-tribal casinos. Overcoming this limitation can be lots of work. Overcoming it isn't common. If tribal games is coming to your state and you're wondering what kind of games you'll find, consider what other gaming already exists in the state. That's most likely what you'll get. In part, compact negotiations include a desire by the state to protect the income of existing non-tribal casinos. These can be lobbying efforts by those casinos or just protecting state income taxes from gaming revenue. As with Virginia tribal gaming efforts, for example, out-of-state lobbying efforts have so far prevented Virginia's first tribal casino. MGM Resorts International is making every effort to protect the gaming income of MGM National Harbor, just across the state line in Maryland. 5. Who operates a tribal casino? The owner of each tribal casino is one or more federally recognized American Indian tribes, bands, or pueblos. But that's the owner. Who operates the casino? Sometimes a tribe decides to let a professional casino operator run their tribal casino. There are solid business reasons to take this approach. While the casino operator takes a cut of revenue, a professionally run casino can generate quite a bit more profit to share. For instance, Harrah's operates both tribal casinos in North Carolina. The Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians owns both tribal casinos, but the tribe has contracted Harrah's, a division of Caesars Entertainment, to operate it for them. Part of that agreement between the tribe and Caesars included allowing Harrah's to have its name included in the name of the casinos. Harrah's Cherokee in Cherokee, situated 50 miles west of Asheville, and Harrah's Cherokee Valley River in Murphy, situated 109 miles southwest of Asheville. Caesars Entertainment is one of the largest casino operator conglomerates in the world, along with MGM Resorts International. For instance, they own and operate most casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. A substantial business advantage with hiring such a major casino operator isn't just their knowledge, experience, and professionalism. These operators also have assets to share. All casinos have a players' reward club. It may be small or large, but they all have one. But guests of tribal casinos operated by Harrah's get to join the Caesars Rewards Players Club. American Indian tribal casinos operated by MGM get to join M-Life Rewards. A Caesars Reward Club card holder gets more and more interesting complimentary gifts than a tribal casino could provide alone. Put another way, that widely available Players Club program is of value to guests at tribal casinos. It's a win-win scenario for both the tribe and the casino operator. With it, the tribe gains credibility and gives value to their guests. For the casino operator, it's an inexpensive perk. Why? Because a significant casino operator does not have to go through the expense of setting up a rewards club program. For example, there's hardly any additional cost to adding a few thousand members through a casino or two in North Carolina. After all, the rewards program already has millions of members. A significant casino operator need not be a non-tribal organization. Mohegan Gaming and Entertainment is a fast-growing U.S. and international casino operator managed by the Mohegan tribe. The 8 casinos MGE operates are Casino Niagara in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, Alani in Ridgefield, Washington, Inspire Entertainment Resort in Incheon, South Korea, Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, Mohegan Sun Pocono in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Paragon Casino Resort in Marksville, Louisiana, Falls View Casino Resort in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. 6. Don't cheat at a tribal casino. As already mentioned, federally recognized American Indian tribes have the right of self-determination and tribal sovereignty supported by the federal government. In general, this means they have tribal laws, courts, and police. If caught cheating at a tribal casino, you would expect to go to jail. But would you expect tribal jail? Further, what are your expectations regarding tribal courts? Robert Narcissian has written an excellent book, The Law for Gamblers, a legal guide to the casino environment. I recommend to you his excellent Chapter 8, entitled Indian Gaming, OMG, WTF. It's a real eye-opener. If you get in legal troubles at a tribal casino, reach out to Robert Narcissian for legal help. Mr. Narcissian has not paid me to promote him. I just like his work. What might happen if someone cheats at a tribal casino? Naturally, the tribal police will take you to tribal jail. If you are not a member of the tribe, you next discover you have no constitutional rights to due process or other protections. Perhaps you leisurely listen to the prior section on the IGRA and the rights given to federally recognized tribes. If you gamble at tribal casinos, maybe you should go back and listen to that again a little more closely. Just saying. My best advice is this: don't cheat at a tribal casino. Don't even give the appearance of cheating at a tribal casino. If you do either, it won't go well for you. 7. Tribal use of gaming profits. In 1988, the U.S. Congress enacted the IGRA to support tribal economic development, including tribal government operations, infrastructure, social services and financial programs, tribal enterprises, charitable causes, and contracting local government services, if desired. To understand actual use of tribal gaming profits, consider each state having a non-tribal gaming industry. How well do these states use their non-tribal gaming profits? Well, it depends on the state. Not all states are doing particularly well with their use of non-tribal gaming revenue. Some are an excellent example to other states. Others, not so much. The care and quality of state gaming regulations, or lack of care and quality, determines their success. There are only 56 U.S. states, territories, and the federal district, each of which is a U.S. gaming jurisdiction. In my non-legal opinion, even Utah is a U.S. gaming jurisdiction. Why? Because Utah has at least one state gaming regulation. All forms of gambling are illegal. When it comes to using gaming profits, American Indian tribes are like U.S. states. It depends. However, there are 10 times more federally recognized tribes than U.S. states. Under the IGRA, 573 bands and tribes with federal recognition unite at a national level. This federal law is common amongst all of them in terms of supporting tribal economic development. There is no such common law for state gaming regulations. Because of common federal law, perhaps there is more abuse among the states than across 10 times as many tribes. Perhaps. The difficulty is the considerable investment needed to know the differences. For example, it took me just over a year to write my state-by-state online resource for slots players. Each week, I wrote an article about one U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. For the complete set, it took me 56 weeks to write 56 articles. Imagine how long it would take an individual to research and write 573 articles on each federally recognized tribe. At a rate of one piece per week, such a project would take 10 years. The start of the series would be 10 years out of date once the series was completed. However, larger organizations and the government have the resources, personnel, and funding to take on such a project. For example, the American Gaming Association, AGA, contracted an economic study of tribal gaming. This is called the Economic Impact of Tribal Gaming, a state-by-state analysis from September 2017. This 21-page report is well worth reading. It also makes several interesting observations. Here are just a few. Tribal gaming has grown by 300x since the passing of the IGRA in 1988. Tribal gaming generates over 44% of all U.S. gaming revenue. 7 of the top 10 state gaming revenues include tribal gaming. 8. Tribal Casinos Players Clubs. Have you identified your gambling goal as earning complimentary gifts? It's one possible gambling goal for slot machine players. Almost entirely, players receive comps through casino rewards programs. By necessity, a small tribal casino has a small casino rewards program. However, an American Indian tribal casino operated by a significant corporation often comes with its own players club. Depending on the comps you are looking to earn, either scenario has its pros and cons. A small casino rewards program at your local tribal casino focuses on the local area. The local audience is well known. That knowledge is its strength. To them, it's personal. An extensive casino rewards program of a major casino operator has difficulty being personal. However, you can potentially earn travel comps from them to any of their other properties. For example, they may operate half the casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. Casino rewards programs are about establishing and maintaining customer loyalty. A small casino rewards program tries to partner with other casinos, perhaps offering a bus trip across the state to a nearby casino. A national rewards program tries to take away the competitive advantage of small rewards programs. One way to do this is to establish a team of hosts at each casino where they operate. These hosts learn what the patrons of that casino want. Both size rewards programs do these things with somewhat limited success. Isolated reservations are where most American Indian tribal casinos are located. Being remote makes it difficult to work with other casinos, as none are particularly nearby. On the other hand, the host of a casino operated by a major corporation can have 900 patrons they're trying to get to know on a personal level. That's a lot of people to get to know. These hosts take a lot of detailed notes. Earning complimentary gifts is what happens when you play at a casino when using their rewards program card. Anyone can earn a comp, sometimes by merely signing up for the program. But some slot machine players have identified earning complimentary gifts as their primary gambling goal. For them, it's not about money or entertainment. It's about earning comps, which means players need a rewards program with which they can work. The loyalty programs at tribal casinos vary in size and what they have to offer. Bigger is not always better. If you want to earn comps, a fundamental question is, what comps do you want to receive? At American Indian tribal casinos, the player desirability of small or large rewards programs depends on you. It depends on what you want. Do you want a new outdoor grill? Sure, either size club will provide one if you earn it. How about earning travel comps? Well, that depends on where they can send you, as well as if you care to go there. Don't even get me started on winning a car at a casino. Yes, I've done that, although it wasn't at a tribal casino. I cover what it's like to win a car at a casino in podcast episode number 19. 9. Class 2 versus Class 3 tribal gaming. The IGRA is a federal law. It defined gaming classifications for all U.S. states, territories, and the federal district. Therefore, these classifications are legal definitions. Few other legal gambling terms are standard across the U.S. As a reminder, Class 1 gaming is tribal ceremonies, Class 2 gaming is competition-style games, and Class 3 gaming is everything else. If you're visiting a tribal casino, you'll want to know in advance if they're offering Class 2 or Class 3 gaming. Why? Because it can be difficult to tell which is which when sitting down at a slot machine. For a Class 2 slot machine, the spinning reels are often for entertainment purposes only. This feature means it can be difficult to distinguish from a Class 3 slot machine. Some tribal casinos have both types. But does it matter if you're playing a Class 2 or Class 3 slot machine? Here's why it matters. The gaming regulations are different. For instance, the Class 3 machine might have a minimum payout return limit defined in the tribal compact. The Class 2 machine next to it usually doesn't. Another difference is more practical. Class 2 machines are competition-based. One way a slot machine becomes competitive is by including a gameplay decision for the player. Another way to make a slot machine competitive doesn't involve a gameplay decision. Instead, all of the Class 2 slot machines on the casino floor may be playing a form of bingo. It is not at all evident if this is happening. If you're playing slots at American Indian tribal casinos, in my opinion, you need to know what game you're playing. In terms of card table games, do you know how to win if you're holding cards? No. To win at table card games, you also need to know the game rules. Are you playing poker or something else? You need to know what card game you're playing. The same is true with slot machines at American Indian tribal casinos. Perhaps you're enjoying an excellent game of Class 2 bingo on an electronic gaming machine. Or maybe you have more legal protections on the Class 3 machine next to the bingo machine. Know that there's a difference in ways that likely matter to you. 10. East Coast versus West Coast. Is there a difference between American Indian tribal casinos based on where they are in the U.S.? Because the IGRA is a federal law, there are fewer differences from coast to coast than you might expect. However, there's still a substantial difference. This is history-based. Many of the tribes found in Oklahoma did not originate in that state or even that region of the country. The ancestral home of many tribes currently federally recognized as tribal communities in Oklahoma was much nearer to the east coast of the U.S. There's no way not to recognize that eastern tribes moved west, often forcibly. Or, through famine or otherwise, the tribes died out, literally or figuratively. Today, there are few American Indian tribes near the east coast of the U.S. Those that remain are, shall we say, durable, and that durability includes tribal gaming. Mohegan Gaming and Entertainment, MGE, is a significant casino operator operated by the Mohegan Tribe of Connecticut. As a demonstration of its success, MGE recently won a contract with the Gaming Jurisdiction Crown Agency of Ontario. Besides its other casino properties, MGE now operates the 2 Canadian casinos near Niagara Falls. On the other hand, California has the second most casinos in the U.S. Further, California has tribal casinos only. Near the middle of the continental U.S. is Oklahoma. Not only does it have the largest population of American Indians when compared to any other U.S. state, but it also has the highest number of casinos. Like California, Oklahoma has tribal casinos only. 11. The future of tribal gaming. As of September 2017, tribal gaming revenue accounts for over 44% of all gaming revenue in the U.S. It's grown 300x since 1988. In early 2018, 6 more tribes became federally recognized. All signs seem to indicate that the future of tribal gaming is bright. Tribal casinos are opening in many states right alongside non-tribal casinos during the last few years. As I have mentioned elsewhere, it's a dynamic time of change in the U.S. gaming industry. There's also a bit of synergy worth mentioning regarding a sort of tension within a state's gaming industry. The IGRA is a federal law designed to support tribes. If a state allows casino gambling and has a federally recognized tribe, the tribe will most likely attempt to negotiate a tribal state compact. It is nearly impossible to prevent tribal casinos if a state does not entirely prohibit gambling, perhaps by the state constitution. If bingo is legal, for example, then tribal casinos can offer Class II competition slot machines without a tribal state compact. The state may object. There may be court injunctions filed based on pertinent legal precedents, as Texas did for years, but it is possible because the IGRA legally provides tribes that opportunity. My points here are this. As non-tribal gaming grows within a state, so will tribal gaming if that state has a federally recognized tribe. And if the tribe opens a Class II tribal casino or negotiates a Class III tribal state compact, then non-tribal casinos will want to open as well. Why? Because it's all about market share. If tribal casinos become the go-to place for the state's gamblers, the market can quickly become saturated. Other casinos might not survive if they try to open in a state with a mature gaming industry. Iowa is an excellent example of this scenario in action. There is an open casino within 1 hour of every resident of Iowa. In summary, tribal gaming is involved, even sophisticated, in terms of legal, regulatory, political, and economic factors. Consequently, it is one of the least understood segments of the U.S. gaming industry. I hope that this summary on American Indian tribal casinos will help slot machine casino gamblers better understand the tribal casinos they visit. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in 2 U.S. states, territories, or the federal district, emphasizing, by far, anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up first is Puerto Rico slot machine casino gambling 2019. Here goes. Up first is Puerto Rico slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Puerto Rico slot machine casino gambling consists of 16 casinos as well as casinos on visiting cruise ships. In late September 2017, Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico, but this U.S. territory has slowly been making physical and economic recoveries. Puerto Rico has set a minimum payout return for their slot machines. No up-to-date statistics for actual payout return percentages are available online. The minimum legal gambling age in Puerto Rico does not depend upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, poker rooms, bingo, the lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering, it's 18. The maximum denomination for a slot machine in Puerto Rico is $25. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. territory and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. In Puerto Rico, the legal status for privately owning a slot machine in this island territory is unknown. The gaming division of the Puerto Rico Tourism Company regulates gaming in Puerto Rico. In this section, I discuss Puerto Rico gambling establishments. There are 13 non-tribal casinos as well as visiting cruise ships in Puerto Rico. San Juan has 8 casinos, including 92 table games and nearly 2,000 gaming machines. The largest casino in Puerto Rico is Cagaos Rio Hotel and Casino in Cagaos, having 570 gaming machines and 10 table games. There are 16 casinos listed as being available in Puerto Rico. Most connect to well-known hotel chains such as Embassy Suites, Hilton, Holiday Inn, Hyatt, Marriott, Radisson, Ritz-Carlton, Westin, and Wyndham. As usual, when there are too many lodging and casino combinations to mention here, a complete list along with their links to their websites, assuming they've set one up, is available on my website blog article for this state at ProfessorSlots.com/PR. Puerto Rico has no federally recognized American Indian tribes and therefore has no tribal casinos. As an alternative to enjoying Puerto Rico's slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state or territory. Bordering Puerto Rico is, to the north, the Atlantic Ocean, to the northwest, Florida, to the east, the U.S. Virgin Islands, to the south, the Caribbean Sea, and to the west, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, and Cuba. To visit either of my articles on this U.S. state or territory, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Florida Slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/FL. Per Puerto Rico's territorial gaming regulations, the minimum payout return for slot machines in Puerto Rico is 83%. The Puerto Rico Tourism Company has slots revenue reports at Statistics under the slot machines heading. Unfortunately, the revenue reporting shown there is over 10 years old. In summary, Puerto Rico slot machine casino gambling consists of 16 casinos as well as casinos on visiting cruise ships. This U.S. island territory has slowly been making physical and economic recoveries since Hurricane Maria in 2017. Puerto Rico has set an 83% minimum payout return for their slot machines. No up-to-date statistics for actual payout return percentages are available online. Over the last year, Puerto Rico has recovered from much of the widespread devastation caused by Hurricane Maria. I found all of the U.S. territories to be interesting when it comes to the gaming industry. There are only 5 U.S. territories, including American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. In many ways, each of these U.S. gaming jurisdictions is perhaps at the greatest risk of setting up their gaming regulations wrong. Just look at what happened this year in the Northern Mariana Islands. China is basically subduing the territorial government through economic means. These territories have their own challenges when it comes to being economically viable. So a so-called simple solution of adding gaming options is very tempting. Puerto Rico is being careful with their gaming industry. I can appreciate why they'd want to. Sure, the Midwestern states want to also be careful setting up their gaming industry. But if, say, Nebraska messes it up, it's not likely a Chinese company will effectively take the state over. Another way territorial gaming jurisdictions are interesting is really all about tourism. Tourists visit, with money, while on vacation. That's a potent combination. Another potent combination is having American servicemen and women readily looking for ways to spend their hard-won money without leaving the island they're stationed on. For territories, setting up a gaming industry is both tempting and risky. With only 5 U.S. territories, we have a widespread response. Some are competent, like Puerto Rico. Some avoid the whole gaming issue entirely, like American Samoa. Another mentioned earlier is incompetent or possibly even corrupt. I've seen a spread-out response with the U.S. states and federal district, but the upper and lower limits of the spread are more extreme for the territories than the states. Maybe states are better at hiding corruption, but I don't think that's been true for decades. The states seem better protected, somehow. Is it due to more attention from the federal government? If so, why would the federal government pay more attention to states? Is it due to something internal with the island territories? Perhaps economic conditions there are just so very different from what the states experience that Nevada's gaming experts, those that lead the world in how to set up a working gaming regulatory framework, simply don't know how to help an island territory. If so, I'm a little surprised by that. Isn't Las Vegas just an island in the middle of a desert? You'd think they'd be able to relate. So, again, I've found my research on the gaming industry in the U.S. territories to be interesting. They have such a great need for income. Some choose to add a gaming option for their tourism sector. Of those that do so to help their island economy, some get it very right. Others get it very wrong. What isn't in doubt, though, is that somebody is making a lot of money from it. I'm rooting for the people of our U.S. territories, all 5 territories. Good going, Puerto Rico. Keep up the good work. As for you, Northern Mariana Islands, get your act together, please. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second state comprising this episode segment, Rhode Island slot machine casino gambling in 2019. Here goes. Rhode Island slot machine casino gambling consists of 2 casinos having video lottery terminal, VLT, style slot machines regulated by the state lottery. All VLTs offer 6 or more games, including slots, blackjack, keno, and 3 versions of poker. Minimum and maximum theoretical payout returns have not been legally set. However, monthly payout return statistics for each casino are available online. The minimum legal gambling age in Rhode Island does not depend upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, poker rooms, bingo, lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering, it's 18. In November 1973, a constitutional amendment approved by voters allowed the state to begin regulating lotteries in Rhode Island. Under this gaming regulation, the first drawing was in May 1974. In 1992, video lottery terminals became available at the state's 2 pari-mutuel facilities. Table games became available at first one facility in 2013, and the other in late 2018. Regarding slot machine private ownership, it is legal to privately own a slot machine in the state of Rhode Island. A 1973 constitutional amendment created the Rhode Island Lottery Commission to regulate the lottery. but disbanded in 2005. By mid-2006, the Gaming Commission became the state lottery division of the State of Rhode Island Department of Revenue. Rather than this state government website, Rhode Island gaming history, regulations, and financial statistics are at the Rhode Island Lottery website. There are 2 non-tribal casinos in Rhode Island. These casinos offer video lottery terminal, VLT, gaming machines, table games, sports betting, and pari-mutuel wagering, despite not having racetracks. All VLTs offer 6 or more games, including slots, blackjack, keno, and 3 versions of poker. The largest casino in Rhode Island is Twin River Casino Hotel, having 4,200 gaming machines and over 100 table games. The second largest and only other casino in Rhode Island is Tiverton Casino Hotel, having over 1,000 gaming machines and over 30 table games. The 2 pari-mutuel wagering facilities without racetracks in Rhode Island, with VLT slot machines, are Tiverton Casino Hotel in Tiverton, located 22 miles southeast of Providence, about 500 feet from the Massachusetts border, and Twin River Casino Hotel in Lincoln, located 7 miles north-northwest of Providence. Rhode Island has a single federally recognized American Indian tribe, the Narragansett Indian Tribe. However, there are no tribal casinos in Rhode Island. As an alternative to enjoying Rhode Island slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Rhode Island is, to the north and east, Massachusetts, to the south, the Atlantic Ocean, and to the west, Connecticut. To visit any of my articles in these U.S. states, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Massachusetts slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/MA. Rhode Island slots really is an excellent alternative to anyone living in southern or just south of the New England region. I just said that there are alternatives to Rhode Island slots, but in many ways, Rhode Island is the alternative to Massachusetts and Connecticut. Heck, Tiverton Casino Hotel is only 500 feet from the Massachusetts border. But Rhode Island also has an alternative gaming option to other nearby, if not neighboring states, like New York, New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and more. Remember, Rhode Island is a relatively small state surrounded by other small states. You can easily fly into Warwick, Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport, a few miles south of Providence, and easily take an Uber over to Connecticut's Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods casinos. It's only 41 to 51 miles away from either tribal casino. Rhode Island has not established minimum or maximum theoretical payout return limits on their VLTs. Rhode Island's actual payout return statistics by month in casino for video lottery terminals shows both casino hold percentage and player win percentage. For March 2019, player win percentage for Rhode Island's casinos were Twin River was 92.20%, and for Tiverton, 92.19%. In summary, Rhode Island slot machine casino gambling consists of 2 casinos having video lottery terminal-style slot machines regulated by the state lottery. All VLTs offer 6 or more games including slots, blackjack, keno, and 3 versions of poker. Minimum and maximum theoretical payout return limits have not been legally set. Each month, for each of Rhode Island's 2 casinos, actual payout return statistics are publicly available. Over the last year, on October 28, 2018, the Newport Grand Casino closed. Using the same gambling license, and with the same number of gaming machines, the newly constructed Tiverton Casino Hotel opened the following day. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is a 5-star review provided by Jackpot John from the U.S. version of iTunes on June 7th, 2019. Title: Just found this. Review: I love slots, and this information is very interesting. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. I love slots too. If you'd like to provide a rating and review for this podcast, which may well help other slots enthusiasts decide to take a listen to one or more of my episodes, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com/Apple Podcasts to find my show on Apple to leave a review. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is one of several possible topics. I'm hoping to be able to make it a casino review. To make a suggestion or ask a question which may end up as a blog article or on a podcast episode, email it to john@ProfessorSlots.com, where John is spelled Jon, or by calling 702-90-SLOTS to leave a voicemail. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast are more brief overviews of the current state of gambling in 2 U.S. states, territories, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. states of South Carolina and South Dakota. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are now available within most podcast apps, but are also available on my website at professorslots.com/E53. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.